Hi, this video is to show you an example of what Scissortail can do to help track the vaccine status of your employees. I've logged in as Kathy Watts, the Director of Payroll and HR for our sample company. Kathy usually logs in and can see all of the different dashboards across the top of her screen. We've added a COVID Response Hub, and when she clicks that, she'll see a few different charts as well as the report that makes up those charts. This first chart is the COVID vaccine tracker. This is giving us a status of all of the employees that work for the entire organization. Each piece of the pie, when you hover over it, gives you a count of employees for the different vaccine status. We're looking at one that says COVID vaccine complete with 4 employees. The next chart is a COVID vaccine by division. Each column makes up the different divisions in our organization, and the colors on each column tell us that we have employees in those status within that division. The status that we already have set up in the system are COVID booster, COVID vaccine complete, first dose, people with a health exemption, people who have refused a vaccine, people with a religious exemption, people with COVID vaccine unknown, and people with COVID training. The COVID training is an option to take the training in lieu of taking a vaccine. Those things can be customized. Each of the statuses can be customized for your organization. The report below is actually a report that makes up the information in the charts above. This can be accessed by clicking the blue words on any of these screens or any of the widgets. When we get to the report, you can see there's a vaccine status column in the center of the page. Let's say we want to communicate with the people who do not have or are unknown as to what the status of their vaccine is. Let's filter for that. Now we've got 4 people that have an unknown vaccine status, and by clicking the check mark in the black box, we can select all of those employees. Now I can click the Communicate button and pull up a template that we've created for the COVID messaging. This ensures that we have a consistent message going out to all of our employees. This template says that the company has implemented a COVID vaccine tracking system, and as a result, you have the ability to complete an employee vaccination status form inside Scissortail. The information will be kept confidential, and only human resources employees with HIPAA clearance will be able to access this information should the need arise. Log into Scissortail to complete the vaccine status checklist in the bell at the top right corner of your screen. Please contact HR if you have questions. You could do whatever verbiage you wanted to use, but we like to make sure that the employees have instructions as to how to complete the item we want them to complete. Another item that we can do as part of this communication is we can determine to send this as of a later time frame. So you could set it all up and send it tomorrow or Monday or whatever day that we're kicking this process off. Now, let's pretend we've sent out this status, and the next thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that checklist is ready for those employees when they log in. So the next step is that Kathy's going to do is she's going to click on the hamburger. She's going to go to checklists. She can just type checklists at the top and then look for the one that says HR and checklists in the breadcrumbs. When you click this, you get an at-a-glance view of all of the checklists that are currently assigned in your system. Let's assign the vaccine status checklist to our employees. So we had 4 employees that we want to assign this to. I'm going to make sure I have all of them on my screen so I can find them. Josh Bronson was one, Dana Fry, Paul Peterson, and Kathy Watts. I'm going to add them to my selection and I'm going to click Apply. Now I just need to choose my checklist and click Save. Now you can see that I have a list of 4 people who've had the vaccine status response checklist added to their account. Next, let's log in as Josh Bronson and walk through completing that checklist. Okay, I've logged in as Josh Bronson and I'm on his home screen. We immediately see that there's a red dot in our to-do bell. So let's click that to-do bell and follow the dots to our checklists to find our vaccine response checklist. Click Go to Checklist and then follow the links to get to our vaccine status response. You can see the questionnaire on the left side of the screen and the responses or places for us to respond on the right. So as Josh, has he had COVID? No. Has he been vaccinated for COVID? Let's say yes. His manufacturer? When did he get his first dose? When did he get his second dose? Has he received a booster? And since there is not a red asterisk next to the date of his booster, this next field is not required. We'll ask him to sign using his password. And when we scroll up, we can save to stay on the page or leave the page and come back. But if Josh clicks Submit, it will actually notify HR that he's completed this form and it's ready for their processing. Let's log back in as Kathy Watts. Okay, we're back as Kathy Watts, and Kathy has received notification that Josh Bronson has completed his vaccine response form, and she's looked at it, and now she knows that she's ready to update his record. Let's pull up Josh. Kathy's added a tab to her employee record screens called COVID Response Vaccine Status. On this screen, she's put all of the different widgets that she's going to need or possibly might need to complete his information. Previously, we had Josh set up as a COVID vaccine unknown. Now that he's responded, we can delete that COVID vaccine status. Kathy's going to click Add to add his new status, which is a COVID complete status, vaccine complete status. I just searched for complete and it brought me the COVID vaccine complete. Check the box and click Apply. Now his status has been changed to complete. Some of the other things on this screen are the checklists so that we can see that he has a COVID status checklist. We could come to the credentials area and we could add credentials such as uploading a copy of his vaccination card. We could look at any employee documents that might be associated, or we could look at any of his forms that might be associated with this as well. So that's all there is to updating the COVID status for an employee and taking a look at the COVID Response Hub one more time. I think it's a pretty neat tool, and I hope you will too.